Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Weekly Roundup. In Weekly Roundup, we cover the most important news of the last week. My name is Anuj, and I will be taking this session. In today's session, we will be covering 5 main news and 8 also in news and 1 place in news. In main news, we will be covering about the Legal Service Authority Act of 1987 as it has completed 30 years of implementation. In second news, we will be covering about Export Promotion Mission, which has been recently approved by Union Cabinet for 6 years. In the third main news, we will be covering about the project Cheetah and Cheetah as a species as India and Botswana announced Cheetah's Translocation Pact. In the fourth news, we will be covering about CAQM, which stands for Commission for Air Quality Management, and in this we will be also covering what are the reasons for pollution in NCR region. In the fifth main news, we will be covering about Aditya L1 and about the Coronal Mass Ejection. Along with these, we will be covering 8 also in news and 1 place in news, that is Ethiopia. So this is a brief about today's session. Let us begin today's session. So basically, let us start with the first news. So first news is that the Legal Service Authority Act of 1987 marks the 30 years of implementation. So in this news, we will be covering about this act and what it provides and how it is useful in UPSC examination. It is mentioned in GS paper 2, which talks about important aspect of governance. So let us move to the discussion of this news. So as we already discussed the context, so let us discuss about the act. The act came into effect on November 1 in 1995. That's why in 2025 it has completed 30 years. And what was the aim of this act? The aim of the act was that it established legal aid organization to ensure that no citizen suffering from economic or other barrier is denied an equal opportunity for getting justice. It has constitutional backing as well. Okay, so there are many articles such as 39A in DPSP, Article 14 and Article 21. So from these articles, it gets a constitutional backing. Okay, so please write down in the comment section by which constitutional amendment act Article 39A was inserted into constitution. Okay, please write down that in the comment section. Okay, so its institutional framework is that there is a National Legal Service Authority at the central level, at the national level, which is headed by Chief Justice of India. And then there is State Legal Service Authorities, which is headed by the respective Chief Justice of High Court. Then there is District Legal Service Authorities, okay, and which is headed by the District Judge. So basically, there was 3 aims. First, to provide the legal aid in free and to support the economically weaker section. Secondly, it established Lok Adalats. It is very important. Lok Adalat as a topic in itself is very important for UPSC examination. So Lok Adalat are basically alternative dispute resolutions mechanism. Okay. There are 2 types of Lok Adalat. One is temporary, that are national and state Lok Adalats. State Lok Adalat. Then there is another kind of Lok Adalat, that is permanent Lok Adalat. Okay. So permanent Lok Adalat was inserted or established in 2002 by amending this act. Okay, so permanent lok adalat are there to resolve the matter of public utility services such as electricity, transport, so that their dispute can be solved all around the year. Okay, and in lok adalats, both civil and criminal cases can be solved. Criminal cases. Only the non-compoundable cases cannot be brought into Lok Adalat. Okay, so that is the basic about Lok Adalat. And now we will discuss about the eligible people for this act. Okay, so eligibility is very important. There are direct question both in prelims as well in mains about the eligibility. Okay, first of all, SC and ST members are eligible. Secondly, women and children are eligible. Victim of traffic and disaster. Okay, the mentally ill or disabled and industrial workmen, person in custody, and those with income below the prescribed limit. Okay, so this limit is different for different states. Okay, it can be 1 lakh, it can be 2 lakh, it can be up to 3 lakhs. But for Supreme Court, it is 5 lakhs. It is very important that the limit for the Supreme Court is 5 lakhs. That the income should be below 5 lakhs. Okay. Secondly, senior citizen eligibility for free legal aid depends on the rules framed by the respective state government. Okay, that means all the senior citizens are not eligible. Okay, and their eligibility is dependent on the rules framed by the state government. Okay, so this is about the eligibility in this act. Okay, now moving further, let us discuss about the other initiative for legal aid. Okay, first of all, legal aid defense council system. Okay, it provides free criminal defense under NALSA. Secondly, DISA. It full forms is Designing Innovation Solution for Holistic Access to Justice. Okay. Whenever you are writing your mains answer, you can write about these steps. There are other steps as well. You might heard about Gram Nyayalayas, fast track courts, also the Nari Adalat. Okay. These are formed under Mission Shakti. Okay. So you can write about these steps when you will be writing about the solves of the cases in the Supreme Court and the High Court. Okay. And whenever the question is about pendency of cases, how to resolve those pendencies, so you can write about these steps. And lastly, there is other initiative under it as well, that is legal literacy and legal awareness program. Okay, so this was about the act. Now we will discuss the PYQ related to this news. As I have already told you that it is important for both prelims and mains. We will be looking PYQ for both prelims as well as for the mains. The first PYQ is from 2023 prelims, and the question is, with reference to the National Legal Service Authority, consider the following statements. First, its objective is to provide free and competent legal services to the weaker section of the society. So this is the first statement. Okay. Second, it issues guidelines for the state legal service authorities to implement the legal program and scheme throughout the country. So these are the two statements. Okay, and the options are A, 1 only, B, 2 only, C, both 1 and 2, and D, neither 1 nor 2. We have discussed this news. And the answer for this is C, both 1 and 2. When we were discussing about aim, when we were discussing about the rules, we have come across both these statements. Okay. So this was one PYQ from prelims. Let us discuss the another PYQ. Okay, so another PYQ is from 2020. Okay, and the question is, in India, legal service authorities provide free legal services to which of the following type of citizens? Okay, as I already told you that on questions on the eligibility are coming in the prelims and in the mains examination. And the given options were a person with an annual income of less than 1 lakh. We have discussed this in the eligibility. Second, transgender with an annual income of less than 2 lakh. Okay, we have not discussed this, but this statement is correct. Okay. Third, members of other backward classes, OBCs, okay, with an annual income of less than 3 lakhs. There is no separate mention of other backward classes in the Act. So this statement become wrong. So option B and C automatically get eliminated. Then all senior citizens. We have discussed this in the discussion. All senior citizens are not eligible under the Act. Okay. And for senior citizens, rules are framed by the respective state governments. So this option is also incorrect. That means the only A option is correct. That is 1 and 2 only. Okay. There is one PYQ from the mains as well. Okay. And the question is, who are entitled to receive free legal aid? Okay. Assess the role of the National Legal Service Authority, NALSA, in rendering free legal aid in India. Okay. So you can provide data and you can define NALSA in introduction. Okay. Around 44 lakh people in last 3 years have received benefit through this act. This information is given in PIB. Okay. So you can give such types of data in introduction. Then in the body you can write about the person or the citizen who are entitled to receive the free legal aid. Then you can assess the role of the National Legal Service Authority is in rendering free legal aid in India. And then you can conclude. Okay. So that can be the framework for your mains answer. So this was all about the first news for today. Let us move to the second news. Okay. So second news is related to export of India. And why it is there in newspaper? It is there because Union Cabinet has approved the export promotion mission for 6 years. In this news, we will be learning about what is this mission all about and why was there need for this mission. And it is related to GS paper 3, which talks about economic development. Okay, let us move to the discussion of this news. So the context here is that this initiative was first announced in the budget of 2025-26. Okay, so it was announced earlier, but approved by the Union Cabinet now. It has been approved now. Okay. And it is designed to serve as a comprehensive and flexible framework to bolster India's export ecosystem, because export for India is very important. And what is the need to bring this mission? Okay. We can divide that into 4 parts. First of all, there are tariff issues all over the world. Okay. USA is putting various tariff on various countries. So that's why there is effect on the global export. Secondly, the export plays a very important role in the Indian GDP. It's account for 21% of GDP. Thirdly, MSMEs account for 45% of India's export. Okay, and you should know the basic definition of MSMEs. The MSMEs definition has been recently changed. Okay, and it is now simplified and based on investment and turnover. Okay. First one is micro, small and medium. For micro, this definition is from 2.5 crore investment to 10 crores turnover. Then for small, it is 25 crore investment to 100 crores turnover. Then for medium, it is 125 crores to 500 crore turnover. Okay, so this is the new definition for MSMEs. And it also plays an important role in the jobs of India. Okay, around 45 million people are directly or indirectly supported by the export. So that is the importance of the export sector. Okay, and why I am giving so much of data and definition? As the paper 3 is very dynamic and the average marks in paper 3 are coming low. So you should know about the data, you should know about the definition so that you can make your answers very specific. Okay, so this was about the need of this initiative. Let us move to the next part. So next part is the key features of this mission. First, let us talk about financial outlay and timeline of this mission. The financial outlay which is given is 25,060 crores. And as already told that it is for 6 years from 2025 to 26 to 2031. Okay. And its basic targets are 3 areas. First time exporters, then MSMEs, we have already defined MSMEs, and then the labor intensive sectors, so that the job which are supported by the export can be prevented. Okay. Okay, and its implementing agency is the Directorate General of Foreign Trade, along with the various ministries like Ministry of MSME with the state government. Okay, so this is the implementing agency for this mission, and it consolidates various schemes such as interest equalization scheme and market access initiative. So now these schemes are consolidated and merged with this mission. Now we will discuss the architecture of this mission. So it is divided into 2 parts. One is Niryat Protsahan and another one is Niryat Disha. These are 2 Hindi words. One means that support to the export, and Niryat Disha mean direction to the export. Okay. So the first component, that is Niryat Protsahan, is a financial support. It improves access to the affordable trade financing through financial instruments such as interest subversion, collateral guarantee, credit card for e-commerce export. Okay, we will be learning about collateral guarantee in the next slide. And the Niryat Disha is non-financial support. In this, they will enhance the market readiness and the competitiveness of the Indian products in the global market. And how this can be achieved? This can be achieved by export quality and compliance support, by assisting for the internationalization of brand so that the Indian brand become global, and they will support by warehousing and the logistic as well. So these are the 2 components of this mission. Now we will look into the one related news to this. Okay, so the news is that the cabinet also approved the credit guarantee scheme for the exporter. Okay, what does credit guarantee means? Suppose you are taking loans from the bank, and one of your relatives says that I will guarantee if this person will not repay the loan, I will repay the loan, so that the bank can give loan freely. So that is the basic purpose of this credit guarantee scheme for exporter. And in this, total credit support is given up to additional 20,000 crore collateral free with 100% guarantee coverage. Okay, collateral free means without giving any collateral to the lenders. Secondly, it will benefit both MSMEs and non-MSMEs who are doing export. Okay. Third, its objective to enhance liquidity, support market diversification, boost employment, and improve global competitiveness. Lastly, its implementing agency is Department of Financial Services. So this was about the related news related to the export mission. Now let us discuss one PYQ related to this. That PYQ is not directly related to this news, that is from mains, okay, and this question is, examine the impact of liberalization on companies owned by the Indians. Are they competing with the MNCs satisfactorily? So basically in this question they are asking about Indian companies and how they are competing with the global MNCs. So it is about the competitiveness. Okay, so you can write about this mission where government is improving the competitiveness of the Indian companies. One PYQ is from prelims examination of 2010 and the question is, the SCG Act of 2005, which came in effect in February 2006, has certain objective. In this context, consider the following. Okay, so you have to learn about the SCG Act. They are very important for Indian export, and you have to look into the objective of the Act. And the statements given are development of infrastructure facilities, promotion of investment from foreign sources. Third option is promotion of export of services only. So you have to solve this answer and write down the answer in the comment section. Okay, and you will also learn about the extreme statement while solving this question. Okay, so this was all about the second news. Let us move to the third news for today. So third news is about the Cheetah and the project Cheetah. And the development is that India and Botswana has announced Cheetah Translocation Pact. And it is related to GS paper 3, which talks about biodiversity. Okay, so let's move to the discussion of this news. We have already discussed the context. The context is that India and Botswana formally announced the translocation of 8 cheetah to India as a part of Project Cheetah. We will be learning about cheetah as a species as well as the Project Cheetah in the coming slides. Before going there, let us discuss about the Botswana. So this is Botswana in Africa. Before Botswana, we have also translocated cheetahs from Namibia. Around 8 cheetahs were translocated. We have also translocated cheetahs from South Africa. Around 12 was translocated. And around 26 cheetah has born in India. Out of which, like this has become 46. Out of 46, 19 have died, and presently there are 27 cheetahs in India. That is a net gain of 7. Okay, and cheetahs are there in Kuno Pulfur National Park and Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary. So both these protected areas are in Madhya Pradesh. Please write in the comment section. There is Gandhi Sagar Dam as well. On which river Gandhi Sagar Dam is there? Please write in the comment section on which river Gandhi Sagar Dam is there. Okay. So this is the brief about the context of this news. Let us discuss the cheetah as a species now. So whenever UPSC is asking about species, UPSC is focusing more on the characteristics of the species. Also they are focusing on their threat, also the habitat, but the more focus is on the characteristics of the species. So let us discuss about it. It is the world fastest mammal. Its speed is about 120 km per hour, highest speed. Okay, and it is the only extreme statement, only large carnivores to be extinct in India. So this is an only large carnivores to be extinct in India, that is cheetah. It was extinct in 1952. Unlike other big cats, that is the second characteristics, unlike other big cats, it does not roar. The other big cats are like lion, tiger, leopard and jaguar. Okay. The voice of cheetah is very similar to cats. Okay. The other characteristics of cheetah is that they hunt during the day. So they hunt during day. There are two species of cheetah. One is African cheetah and another one is Asiatic cheetah. Asiatic cheetah is only present in Iran presently. And African cheetah is present in many countries of Africa. Okay. And the African cheetah is vulnerable and Asiatic cheetah is critically endangered. When we look into the IUCN red list, it is divided like extinct, extinct in wild, critically endangered, endangered, vulnerable, near threatened and least concern. Okay. So African cheetah is vulnerable and Asiatic cheetah is critically endangered. So this was about cheetah as a species. Now we will look into the Project Cheetah. It was launched in 2022 and it aims to translocate African cheetah to India. It is the world's first intercontinental large wild carnivores translocation initiative. This is also an extreme statement. Such statement can come in the prelims examination. Okay. The implementing agency is the National Tiger Conservation Authority. It is a statutory body under Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change. And it was brought by amending the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 in 2006. Okay. And it operates under umbrella project of Project Tiger and Elephant. Project Tiger was started in 1973 and Project Elephant was started in 1993. They were merged together in 2023-24 and now this project is known as Project Tiger and Elephant. Okay. And there is Cheetah Project Steering Committee as well, which looks overall implementation of Project Cheetah, which was established by NTCA. Now let us look into the significance of translocation. The significance of reintroducing cheetahs in India. First of all, they are very important for ecological restoration as cheetahs are apex predators. Okay, if there will not be any predators, the population of prey will increase dramatically and it will hamper the overall ecological balance of the ecosystem. Secondly, it will also conserve the biodiversity as cheetah will serve as a flagship species and government and other institution will look and protect the other species in this ecosystem as well. So overall biodiversity will be conserved. Okay. So these are the significance of reintroducing cheetah in India. Now we will look into one PYQ. You have to solve this PYQ. Okay, you can look into the Google or you can Google about the question as well. We have discussed one aspect of this question. So the question is from Prelims 2024. The question is, consider the following statements. First, lions do not have a particular breeding season. Second, unlike most other big cats, cheetah do not roar. We have discussed. This is an correct statement. The third statement is, unlike male lions, male leopard do not proclaim their territory by scent marking. Okay. So one of the statement in these two statements is incorrect. So please write down the answer in the comment section. The options are A, 1 and 2 only, B, 2 and 3 only, C 1 and 3 only, and D 1, 2 and 3. So this was all about this news. Let us move to the next news. So the next news is about Delhi pollution. The context here is that CAQM, that is Commission for Air Quality Monitoring, has invoked stage 3 of graded response action plan in NCR. In this news, we will be learning about CAQM and what are the reason for pollution in the NCR region. It is there in GS paper 3, which talks about environmental pollution and degradation. Okay. Let us move to the discussion of this news. We have already discussed the context. So this response include 9-point action plan comprising a ban on construction, mining, polluting vehicle along with hybrid schooling to staggered office timing to reduce emission and congestion. Okay. So basically they want to reduce the pollution in the NCR region by invoking these 9-point action plans. Okay. And CAQM is a statutory body. It is an important point that it is a statutory body established in 2021 by the Act known as Commission for Air Quality Management in the National Capital Region and adjoining areas. Okay. So now we will move to the next slide. We will discuss reason for air pollution in the NCR. There are many reasons such as topographical factors, meteorological factors, and human-made pollution. Okay. Coming to topographical factors, so NCR is in the Indo-Gangetic plains. So it acts like a vowel so that the air comes down here. That is the first topographical factor. Second, there are natural barriers outside and along the NCR region. They does not allow to pass the air from there. The natural barriers are Himalayas in north, Aravallis in the west, and the peninsular region in the south. So air get trapped here in the NCR region. The other meteorological factors are temperature inversion. What is temperature inversion? So basically, this is the air bracket where this is warm air, then the colder air, then the cold air. So warm air normally get mixed with the colder air so that the air get replaced. But in temperature inversion, there is cold air along the ground, then warm air, and the cold air above the warm air. So the cold air get trapped inside the warm air. So it does not allow mixing of air here. That is the meteorological factor. The other meteorological factor is that the wind speed in winters in the NCR region is very low. Then there are other human-made factors as well, such as the emission from the vehicles and the industries, and also from the stubble burning. If you are reading newspaper, the incidence of stubble burnings are low this year. Okay, that might be due to the awareness by the government or by the change in the cycle of harvesting due to floods in Punjab. So these are the reason for air pollution in the NCR region. Now we will discuss about the graded response action plan. What it is? It is an emergency response mechanism for the entire NCR triggered by the Delhi's average AQI. So basically it is for entire NCR region which is triggered by the average AQI of the Delhi. Okay. And it is divided into 4 stages based on the AQI level. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 and stage 4. So when we were discussing about the context, the stage 3 has been implemented. So there are other 3 stages as well, stage 1, stage 2 and stage 4. So when the air quality index is from 201 to 300, the stage 1 gets implemented. When the air quality index is between 300 to 400, stage 2 is implemented. When the AQI is between 400 to 450, then the stage 3 is implemented. And when the AQI is above 451, then stage 4 gets implemented. Okay, so this was about graded response action plan. Now we will discuss one case study, that is of Beijing and how it has improved its air quality. So basically, the air quality in Beijing have improved from 144 in 2015 to 92 in 2024. This is an achievement. Before this, Beijing was known as the smoke capital. Okay, so they have taken several steps to reduce the pollution. You can write it as a success story in your answers. Okay. So first of all, they have planned for phased and long-term strategy, which was implemented in 3 phases. So they were planning for the long term. Secondly, they have targeted the source control. Source control such as vehicles, such as industries. So they have targeted them and control the pollution emerging from those sources. Lastly, they also talks about the regional cooperation. There was regional cooperation as the reduction of pollution is not possible if there is reduction of the pollution in one city, but the surrounding cities have lot more pollution. That pollution will come to that city. So they have cooperated with the 5 surrounding provinces, and also they have increased the investment to decrease the pollution in that city. So this is an success story of reducing pollution in Beijing. We will discuss one PYQ related to this news. So PYQ is from 2015, the mains PYQ, and the question is, Mumbai, Delhi and Kolkata are 3 mega cities of the country, but the air pollution is much more serious problem in Delhi as compared to the others. Why this? So we have discussed about this when we were discussing about reason for pollution in the NCR region. So you can write about the meteorological factors, topographical factor and the human factors as well. Okay. So this was the PYQ from mains. There is one PYQ from prelims as well in 2016. So the question is, in the cities of our country, which among the following atmospheric gases are normally considered in calculating the value of air quality index? You have to solve this because this is readily available on Google. Look at the options. The first option is carbon dioxide, second carbon monoxide, third nitrogen dioxide, fourth sulfur dioxide and fifth methane. And you have to select the option which is correct. Okay, so please answer this PYQ in the comment section. We will move to the next news. So next news is about Aditya L1. And the context is that Aditya L1 mission track coronal mass ejection. In this news, we will be learning about Aditya L1 as well as the coronal mass ejection. And it is there in GS paper 3 which talks about achievements of Indians in science and technology. Let us move to the main discussion of this news. So the context here is that the using data from visible emission line coronagraph, which is a payload on Aditya, the scientists from Indian Institute of Astrophysics and in collaboration with NASA have successfully estimated key parameters of coronal mass ejection. So here basic question is, what is coronal mass ejection? So basically they are large expulsion of plasma and magnetic field from the sun's corona. Okay. They are related to solar flares, but they are different. Both solar flare and CMEs are different. Solar flares is basically the energy emitted from the sun, and they travel at the speed of the light. Whereas the coronal mass ejection is the expulsion of plasma and magnetic field from the sun's corona, and their speed is very low when compared to the speed of the light. So that is basic about the coronal mass ejection and the solar flares. Okay, and this is the first visible light spectrographic observation of CME ever. What is the spectrographic observation? So there is the electromagnetic radiation spectrum. Here is visible light, then there is infrared, microwaves and radio waves. Then here is UV, X-rays and the gamma rays. So this is the electromagnetic radiation spectrum. They have observed it in the visible light. That means here. Okay. And in this, the energy gets increased when we move from radio waves to the gamma waves. There can be a question about the placement of these radiation, and there can be also question from the usage of various waves such as radio waves, microwaves or the infrared waves. Okay, so this was about the context of this news. Let us move to the mission, that is Aditya L1 mission. It was India's first dedicated solar mission, and it was launched in 2023 using PSLV C59. PSLV stands for Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, and we have other launch vehicle as well, that is GSLV. Okay, that is Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle. In Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, there are 4 stages that is divided as solid, liquid, solid and liquid. So first stage is solid, then liquid, then again solid and then liquid. But in GSLV, there are 3 stages. First is solid, then liquid, and the last third stage is cryogenic. That is the basic difference, and GSLV is more powerful than the PSLV. Okay. And what was its objective? Its objective was to understand the coronal heating and solar wind acceleration, flares and near Earth space weather, solar wind distribution and temperature anisotropy. So you might be aware that the temperatures of sun's corona is higher than the sun. Okay. So this is an mystery, and we still doesn't know the reason behind this. Why the temperature of corona is higher than the sun. Okay. So this was about Aditya L1 mission. Now we will discuss about the placement of the Aditya L1 mission. It is placed in halo orbit around the Lagrange point 1. What are Lagrange point? You can see this infographic. There are 5 Lagrange points. One is L1, where the Aditya L1 mission is placed. There is L2, L3, L4 and L5. L1, L2 and L3 are unstable, and L5 and L4 are stable. Okay. And what are these L1, L2, L3, L4, L5? So these are the point where the gravitational pull of 2 large masses. Here the large masses is Sun and the Earth is equal to the centripetal force of the surrounding satellite. That is Aditya L1. So that the Aditya L1 mission gets revolved without using much fuel. So there is a balance so that the mission uses less fuel. Here important aspect is that the gravitational pull of 2 large masses is cancelled out by the centripetal force. So this was about the placement of Aditya L1 and the Lagrange point. Okay, now we will discuss about the other mission for the Sun. The other solar missions are Hinotori, that is launched by Japan in 1980s. The other is Parker Solar Probe. It is very important as this is the first spacecraft to touch the Sun. It is an extreme statement, and the name of the mission is Parker Solar Probe, launched by US in 2018. The other solar mission is Solar and Heliospheric Observatory Satellite, that is known as SOHO mission, launched jointly by NASA and European Space Agency. It is the longest lived sun watching satellite. So this was about the major solar missions. Let us look into the PYQ related to this news. So first PYQ is from prelims. The question is that with reference to India's satellite launch vehicle, consider the following statement. The first statement is that PSLV launched the satellite useful for Earth resource monitoring, whereas GSLV are designed mainly to launch communication satellite. As we have discussed, GSLV is far strong than the PSLV, and they are mainly used for sending communication satellite. Communication satellite are basically sent to geosynchronous orbit. Geosynchronous orbit. Okay. And the second statement is that satellite launched by PSLV appears to remain permanently fixed in the same position. Okay. Those satellites are the satellite which are placed in the geostationary orbit. Geostationary orbit is a special type of geosynchronous orbit. And we have already discussed the satellite which are placed in geosynchronous orbit are launched by the GSLV. So this statement is wrong. Third, GSLV Mark III is a 4-stage launch vehicle with the first and the third stage using solid rocket motors, and the second and fourth stage using liquid rocket engines. We have discussed this in news. GSLV is a 3-stage vehicle, whereas the PSLV is 4-stage vehicle. Second and third statement become wrong. So the answer is A1 only. The mains PYQ is from 2016. And the question is, discuss India's achievement in the field of space science and technology. How the application of this technology help India in socio-economic development. So there are two parts in the question. Whereas in the first part, the question is asking about India's achievement in the field of space science, where you can write about various missions of India such as Aditya L1, Astrosat, Mangalyaan, and other missions as well. And in second part, you will write about their application, which is helping India to achieve socio-economic development. So this was all about main news for today. Let us discuss the place in news for today. So the place in news for today is Ethiopia. And the context is that Ethiopia has been selected to host the UNFCCC COP32 in Addis Ababa for 2027. So Addis Ababa is the capital city of Ethiopia. One interesting fact here is that the host country for COP31 has been not selected till now. But the host country for COP32 has been selected. Okay. Now we will discuss the features of Ethiopia. First of all, it is a landlocked country in the Horn of Africa. Although it is very near to Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, but it is a landlocked country. That means its border does not touch the sea. Okay. Secondly, its neighboring countries are Eritrea, Djibouti, Somalia, Kenya, South Sudan, and Sudan. I think in 2024 there was a question that no major river fall into Red Sea. As it was an extreme statement, many students thought that is an incorrect option. Okay, but that was an correct option. That is, no major river falls into Red Sea. Okay, so that is That was an option in 2024 prelims examination. The other features of this country are that it has rivers such as Blue Nile, Takezi, Baro, and other rivers. Okay. And it form part of Rift Valley, which is part of African Rift Valley. Okay. And why this Rift Valley is forming in Africa? Because the Somali plate is drifting away from the African plate. Okay. So the rift has been created here, and it is continuously drifting away from the African plate. Lastly, the highest point in Ethiopia is Mount Ras Dazen. So this is the place in news for today. Now we will discuss the quick update for today. So the first quick update for today is about Pratyush Sinha committee. And the context is that the SEBI has appointed high-level committee under the chairmanship of Pratyush Sinha, which has recommended stronger rules to prevent conflict of interest among the top official within the SEBI. So what is conflict of interest? Conflict of interest is ethical dilemma. Suppose you are giving UPSC interview and one of the panel members knows you. So for that panel member, as he or she might be knowing you, there will be a conflict of interest to give marks to you. So that is the conflict of interest. And what are the key recommendations of the committee to resolve conflict of interest among the top official within the SEBI? First of all, they have said that there should be mandatory disclosure of asset and liabilities by the chairperson, whole-time members, and the senior official, so that there will be more transparency. Okay. Secondly, they will be classified as insider. Insiders are the person who knows information which is not available for the general public. So they will be classified as the insiders. Thirdly, there will be investment restriction on them, and senior official and dependent family members will be allowed investing only through the pooled professionally managed funds and not directly. Okay. Lastly, dedicated whistleblower channel for conflict of interest reporting. So suppose there is conflict of interest for some person and the other person comes to know about that, he or she can report about the conflict of interest of that person. So these are the key recommendations of Pratyush Sinha committee. Now we will move to the next quick update. Okay, so next quick update is about auroras. Okay. And the context here is that the auroras were witnessed in Northern America and Australia. We will discuss about auroras in this news. So basically it is a natural light display in the night sky, usually only appearing in lower polar regions. So many of you have wished lit regarding visiting the northern lights. So these are related to auroras. Okay. Near the northern pole, they are known as aurora borealis, and in the southern pole, they are all known as aurora australis, also known as southern lights. And how they occur? Okay. And why they occur only in lower poles? Okay. When the sun high energy get to the earth, so by the magnetic field of the earth, they get transmitted to the lower poles, where they collide with the atoms in the upper atmosphere and produce the light. Suppose they are colliding with the oxygen, they will produce green and red light. Suppose they are striking with the nitrogen, they will produce blue and purple light. So this was about auroras. Moving to the next quick update. The next quick update is about digital gold. And the context is that the SEBI has issued a public advisory warning investors against investing in digital gold or e-gold. So whenever you might be opening your Paytm application, you might seeing an option to invest in digital gold. And SEBI has said that investors who are investing in digital gold offers by various online platforms are not part of SEBI regulatory framework. So this is the context here. Okay. And what is the meaning of digital gold? Okay. So it refers to buying gold without physically possessing the precious metal. So basically you are buying digitally gold, not in the physical form. And why you are buying it? Suppose the price of the gold this year is around 80,000 and it can reach up to 1,20,000 next year. So to get that benefit without buying the physical bond, you can buy the digital gold so that you can get that benefit. Okay. So the price of digital gold is linked to that of physical gold. Okay. And it is created using blockchain's technology and allows investor to buy, sell and store gold electronically. We have already discussed about it. And these products are neither notified as security nor regulated as commodity derivatives. That has been clarified by the SEBI. So this was about the digital gold news. Next quick update is about Booker Prize. And the context here is that the David Sisley has won the 2025 Booker Prize for his novel Flesh. So the important point here to note is that the Booker Prize is different from the International Booker Prize. Okay, so please read about the International Booker Prize as well. Here we will discuss about Booker Prize. Okay, so it is established in 1969 in United Kingdom, and it aims to honor the best English language fiction published in UK or Ireland each year, and the prize money is of 50,000 pounds to the winner, and for the nominated members it gives prize money of 2,500 pounds. Okay, so this was about the Booker Prize. Moving to the next quick update. The next quick update is about Montreal Protocol. And what is the context? The context is that the 37th meeting of parties of Montreal Protocol on substance that deplete the ozone layer has recently concluded. So Montreal Protocol is one of the most successful protocol of the world. It was there to reduce the substances that was affecting the ozone layer. Okay. And it was signed in 1987, and it is a globally legally binding treaty. Legally binding treaty. Such types of statement appear in prelims examination where they give that this treaty is legally binding or not legally binding. Okay. To eliminate production and use of ozone depleting substances. It was implemented under the Vienna Convention, which was adopted in 1985. And it was amended by Kigali Amendment, which was adopted in 2016 to phase out the production and consumption of HFCs, which are hydrofluorocarbons. So basically, hydrofluorocarbons does not harm the ozone layer, but they have very high global warming potentials. So as they have high global warming potential, so they were hampering the warming of the earth, and that's why they have to be phased out under Kigali Amendment. Okay, so this was about the Montreal Protocol. Let us move to the next quick update, that is about World Artificial Intelligence Cooperation Organization, WICO. And the context here is that the recently at APEC, that is Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation meet in South Korea, China has pushed for a global body, WICO, to govern artificial intelligence norm. So you can write about WICO in your mains examination where there can be a question about AI, or there can be a direct question about WICO in your prelims examination. Okay, and what is the aim of WICO? So it aims for shaping global standard for world cooperation. and it incorporated principle from China's 2023 Global AI Governance Initiative, okay, and which emphasizes on human-centric design. That means the humans should be at the center of the development. It also talks about data sovereignty. That means the people should be sovereign to store data. Lastly, it also talks about algorithmic transparency. So there should be a transparency in the algorithm which are used for the AI. And it was announced during 2025 World Artificial Intelligence Conference in Shanghai. So this was about WICO. Moving to the next quick update. So the next quick update is about Greater Flamingo Sanctuary. So the context is that the wind farm proposed by the National Institution of Wind Energy can affect the Greater Flamingo Sanctuary. So in this news, we will be learning about flamingos and about the Greater Flamingo Sanctuary. Whenever you are learning about species, just look at the picture of that species so that it gives you a clearer picture about that species. So basically, Greater Flamingos range span from Africa, Western Asia and Southern Europe. And it is usually found in the saline water, which are shallow, as well as in the alkaline wetland during the breeding season. And these are the migratory birds. Okay. Now coming to the Greater Flamingo Sanctuaries. Okay, it was established by Tamil Nadu government in Dhanushkondi, which is located in the Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve. Okay, this is very important because we have seen previously UPSC have asked about the wildlife sanctuaries as well as the national park which are there in Biosphere Reserve. And what its aim? It aims to protect the migratory bird habitat along the Central Asian Highway. So the Central Asian Flyway is a migratory path followed by the migratory birds from Upper Asian region and European region to this Indian Ocean, then again back to the same region. Okay, so this is aimed at protecting Central Asian Flyway. Now we will discuss the last quick update for today. The last quick update is about Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation. And the context here is that Ireland has declared the potential collapse of AMOC as a national security threat. In this news, we will be learning about Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation. Okay. So basically, this is Atlantic, North Atlantic, and this is South Atlantic. So when Earth rotate like this, so water get diverted here and it flows from equator to the colder regions as the Gulf Stream. And in the Gulf Stream, this water get converted into the snow or the sea ice, leaving behind the salt, which make the water as denser, which goes down in the sea, that is known as downwelling, and then it come back again to the equator region, that is bringing colder water from the northern poles to the equator, and it provide nutrition as well as stabilize the climate in and around the Atlantic region. So that is the basic about the AMOC. So it is a system of ocean current that circulate water within the Atlantic Ocean. And it is powered by difference in water temperature and salinity. So they are saying that it can collapse. And its collapse will lead to the cool Europe and change in precipitation pattern. So basically, suppose it is transmitting the hot water from the equator region to the European region. And if this collapse, there will be no transfer of this warm water to the European region. That will lead to severe winters in Europe. Secondly, it will also affect the timings of Indian motion. It will also affect the timing of the Indian monsoon. Lastly, the tropical rain belt will shift southward, resulting in the drought over the African Sahel. So basically, African Sahel region is below the Sahara Desert. So that will also get impacted. Okay. So this was the today's discussion. To read more about our current affairs initiative and to solve smart quizzes, you can visit our digital current affairs website. Thank you and all the best for your preparation.